Good morning. Amanda with the Happy Homestead here, and it is Wednesday, August 23rd, and it is bright and early, and we are going to get going on this lasagna that we didn't do last night. But first, Marley wanted you to know he's here. Yeah. It's thirsty again. By the way, I love all of the comments that I get about Marley. I appreciate them because I love Marley. And so I appreciate the fact that you guys care for him and find him amusing also. And good boy. Good boy. But also the fact that this really is real life. Like, nothing is staged here at all. All right, so jumping right back into the Every Bits Count challenge this morning. I was hoping to make 2 lasagnas yesterday. I made 1. Today we're gonna do the second one. However, today's lasagna, if you followed along with yesterday, a little bit different. This is not going to be the traditional meat sauce, tomato-based lasagna. So this is pumpkin that I had last fall, and I roasted it, pureed it, and then froze it. And so I took it out of the freezer 2 days ago. It's been in the fridge. This morning I just put it on the saucepan, on the stove for a little bit, just to help get any extra water out and thicken up a bit. So this lasagna is gonna have our pumpkin sauce, which we're gonna put together in just a second here. I've got some ground Italian sausage, homemade ricotta, homemade Romano cheese, and I've got some herbs and spices. Now, 2 days ago, I made homemade lasagna noodles, and I had some left from yesterday's adventure with lasagna. And then last night, I can't even make this up, Marley ate the noodles. He has a really bad habit, especially when the kids are home, of kind of like jumping up on the table and getting our napkins, or like putting his paws on the counter up here. He'll grab whatever he can because his whole MO and end game is for someone to chase him and get whatever it is he has. Sometimes he likes to get things and just destroy them. Other times it's just about the chase and the game. Well, last night he got the lasagna noodles. He didn't really eat them, but he certainly crunched them and broke them into a million pieces. That was that. So I had to go to the store and get some noodles. This is not something I would normally do. However, I was looking at the ingredients. They're not horribly bad, not too bad. And in a pinch, sometimes those store-bought things really can save your sanity. I feel much more relaxed today, so I don't have to make pasta to do this. So don't feel like everything has to be homemade. I'm sure you don't feel that way anyway, but sometimes I do. I have to remind myself. All right, let's make our pumpkin sauce first. So all that's in here is the pumpkin puree. Make sure that if you're buying canned pumpkin, you're not buying pumpkin pie filling, right? You're just buying the pumpkin. And this is probably a good 2 cups, maybe a good 2 heaping cups worth. I'm just gonna season with about a teaspoon of salt, freshly ground pepper, I've got some dehydrated onion granules, probably about 1 tablespoon. Actually, I'm gonna go a little bit more, maybe 2 tablespoons. Tablespoon garlic powder. Nah, that was probably a good 1.5 teaspoons maybe. Let's mix that up. And then I like to add in some ground cloves, just a little bit. I think it really pairs well with the sausage and the pumpkin, along with some ground nutmeg. I don't have ground nutmeg, so I actually buy nutmeg by the whole, I don't know, kernel? Pod, maybe pod. And then I take a microplane grater. And then put the pod back in. Okay, and then the herb that just can't be missed with this dish is going to be sage. Ground or rubbed sage, as you might see it. Those flavors together, the nutmeg, the clove, the sage, along with the onion and garlic, oh, it creates such a really good savory flavor profile for pumpkin. Normally you think of pumpkin with cinnamon and sweetness, like maple syrup of some sort or some kind of sugar. So this just creates a really good flavor profile that is more savory. I'm going to add just a tad bit of milk. Not much. Okay, we're ready to start assembling. I'm good with that sauce. I'm really just gonna start layering everything, and just like yesterday, I am no lasagna pro. I don't claim to know exactly how a lasagna should be layered, so do as you've been taught or as you wish. That's what I plan to do also. Always starting with a little bit of sauce on the bottom to help keep the noodles from sticking. Well, I think that looks better than yesterday's lasagna. I would say this looks a little more appetizing. All right, I'm gonna do the same thing. Cover this with foil, cover with my casserole pan, lid, and get it right in the freezer. So it's time to get started with the next project for preserving. I just started the Harvest Right freeze dryer. It's doing its cooling down process. Because it's in room temperature, whenever you turn it on, it's usually at that ambient room temperature. So we're in the mid 70s right now. It needs to cool down. And usually about 15 minutes is then when it will say you can put your trays in. I usually try to get it around refrigerator temperatures before I put my trays in, and then kickstart the process to begin freezing. I have a lot of basil, some parsley, and a little bit of calendula flowers. So I went to the garden last night, harvested a lot of the basil, at least 60 to 70% of it, because I know with it being towards the end of August, it's gonna start flowering. The bugs are gonna start to get to it. It's gonna start to get some of those brown spots on the leaves, and I wanted to harvest it at the most beautiful time where it's fresh and fragrant and lovely, and get it in the freeze dryer. So all of the basil has been washed. I just got my last batch washed. I did all of this last night. Look at how big some of these basil leaves are. Huge. It's just so much. I think I have enough basil to last the next 3 or 4 years. I mean, nobody needs this much basil. But what I plan to do with it, since I do have so much, is maybe use this for Christmas gifts. Some of these freeze-dried herbs. I think that would be lovely. All right, I've got a little bit of parsley. I'm saving a little bit of room. We're gonna get the parsley and my few calendula flowers on here. Nope, we're not. These are in the fridge, but they do not look very good. So they're a no-go. So freeze dryer's going, the lasagna's in the freezer. Let's get one more project done for the day. I was able to get my canner on the stove. I've got my teapot on the stove. Everything's just warming up a bit. And I got all of my green beans with the ends trimmed. They're ready to be snapped and put into my jars. So I'm gonna get my salt in my jars, get my beans a-snapping, and get this project done. Thanks for joining me today. I'm so glad that we got much more accomplished today compared to yesterday. I will see you tomorrow. Stay healthy, stay well. Bye-bye.